Palantir has seen a surge through that 174 past support level, closing at 176.08 today, following this beautiful continuation of this bounce at that 150 level, which was a past support as well. So we're seeing stock being very reactive here, guys, and we continue with a very solid day today. So should we be expecting these all-time highs to get hit by the end of the month, or are we going to see that added downwards pressure like we've been seeing over the last 3.5 weeks before this bounce? All right, guys, on the weekly, we've seen a very strong stock in the long-term aspect of things, right? We've seen stock kind of climb up with smaller pullbacks and retracements higher up than last time. And that's exactly what we saw recently, right, guys? We get a smaller pullback. We see stock be reactive, hold up, build that energy, blow up to all-time highs of 207. And then we saw the overall market pull back pretty tough over around 3.5 weeks. And that brought us back down to this base level where we found that past a nice move up, recorrecting from this past pullback. But we see stock hold up very reactive to that 150 level, and we get that ultimate bounce there. And now we're trending back up and reclaiming levels like 174. And we're definitely looking at a very solid point here, guys, on the weekly time frame. Now flipping back to the daily, guys, we've seen buyers find that reactive move, see a red hammer candle as we go ahead, see a ton of buying pressure at that zone, which was a past support. So we use that spot as support, that $150 level, to go ahead, gap up, see a nice move past 186, which is a harsh resistance for stock. Go ahead, find a movement downwards, and then we find that 150 reactive again all of these days, guys, right? Each candle here being a day, back testing this spot, right? And we go ahead and still hold up. That leads us to a move back and testing that 186 where we get in another chop range. Price is building that energy, chopping between 174 as support and 186 as resistance. Either sellers bring us downwards or buyers bring us up, and the buyers won that battle, guys, bringing us to those all-time highs. And from there, guys, we get a rejection and fall very fast, gap down, continue falling, false bounce as the overall market is seeing a lot of sharp downwards pressure with smaller, weaker bounce attempts back up and a continued move downwards. But what do we see, guys? Very reactive to that 150 spot. So this entire picture that we're painting here, guys, is that this stock is extremely reactive, at least in the shorter term type of time period, to certain levels like 186, 174, and 150. Very strong support levels on both 170 and 150. And we notice that that 170 doesn't really turn into resistance, right? We don't really have to test that spot. We just kind of breeze right through it like we saw right here. You know, test it once here, fail, continue to move the next day. Just like we saw here, test that spot, a ton of selling pressure. But today's price action goes ahead and closes over that spot, getting well above that, shifting this momentum with a green wide bar. So what we see here, guys, is a reactive stock. So in theory, we should be seeing the next trading day, even if we see some selling pressure, hold up and attempt to hold that 174 as support once more. Kind of like we saw right here. You know, we could be seeing some nice continuation, kind of like we got over on today's trading day, continue that move for a bit. And if we come back down, we should be able to lay that base as that 170 being that strong support level, kind of chop between those levels or continue the movement up, claiming that resistance of 186 and turning that into support like we saw here. So we've seen a ton of nice price action recently with that bounce, and claiming a level like 174 is extremely important for the stock to have a nice overall month. And we're definitely on the path to doing that. You know, see a very strong candle like that, guys. Most times you see a continuation or you'd see a nice hold at that past support given the reactiveness of the stock, and which would be set up in an excellent position to go ahead and retest that 186 later this month as well as possible all-time highs if we could see a nice volatility switch and continue this strong bounce to the upside. Now quickly, guys, on the hourly, we kind of broke down from this pennant that we had going on. We got in a little bit of a chop pennant, nothing too textbook, but we kind of just seep out of that and we try to find that 174, right? Not exactly a harsh resistance, but still can hold up as resistance, as that is the main support. And then we flush all the way down, but we're very reactive to that 150 past support, guys. We see on that 1 hourly candle, when the sellers try to find their move to the downside, we buy it right back up and bounce off that exact level. And then when we're trending above that 160, we go ahead and find that as a new bottom where we go ahead and trend beautifully in a nice solid ascending profile to that 174, which we just claimed over. So we saw on the past trading day, right, we wicked over that. We could not get that movement back up. And then today, guys, we see some beautiful price action over and claiming that spot which was that very strong past support level that you want to be watching out for that reclaim. It's very likely that we see price either continue this volatile move, or if we come down, we trend on that and continue back up. Right, we're in a very excellent spot on Palantir. We're also at a pretty good spot for the overall market, guys. If you look at SPY, right, we're still pressing up on that resistance, but we're refusing to get pulled back harshly. A lot of people thought, we're pressing up on this exact 684 level for multiple days. Eventually, we're going to crash down, but it's looking like buyers are pressing that narrative. QQQ gives it another nice little angle here. We're actually above that main resistance around that 616. Got above that, guys, and now we're trying to press a narrative to those all-time high levels by around the end of the month. Very, very attainable, if not a lot sooner, if we can keep pulling that bullish bounce after this tough, around 3 weeks of price action. So for Palantir, guys, if the overall market is finding that continued movement up, we have a ton of room and space to find this volatility, especially if we can go ahead and trend back to that 186. There was not a lot of price action within 186 to all-time highs, right? It's very likely that continue this volatile move, especially if we claim this 174 as that strong support like we're already seeing develop. Go ahead and trend to all-time highs before the month is over. That is our prediction, especially if the overall market can go ahead and continue pulling upwards. So that's all I got for you guys today on Palantir. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe button. Don't miss an update. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below. And as always, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.